I did. I didn't do a whole lot, that made it even better, so.
Oh, that's right.
All right. We'll get started with a word of prayer this morning, and then we're going to give the balance of the time to Eric and Becca, who are going to talk to you about using the library, which will be very beneficial. You really need to pay attention, take good notes. You don't need to be on phones or anything while they're talking. Just need to be focusing on how you can use the library to help you be a better researcher. And Eric is passing out some information for you. Eric, did these change from last semester?
No.
They're the same ones? Okay. I didn't know if I needed to have them to upload, but if they're the ones that from March. I know there was a change in March from passwords, and I got that. So, okay. All right. Well, let's get started with a word of prayer, and we will be rolling today. How can we pray today? Matt?
In Elkton, Alabama, there was a shooting at 10:30 p.m. that killed 2 adults and 3 children. One mother and child they thought they could save, but by the time they had flown to the hospital, they actually died while flying. And so it's a rough day in Elkton.
Rough day in lots of places.
So-
Yep.
For my parents, they're in a ministry right now that's really difficult. So just prayers for them.
Yeah, Max?
I'm just really tired of being tired all the time.
Facts.
So I really like to try to get more discipline, more routine. I just pray that God can be in control and help me get through this semester a bit better.
Probably have lots of people who could amen that, including faculty. Okay. Others? Yep, Sam?
My grandfather and my grandmother's parents that are still alive after she passed away last week, they're having a really hard time.
Okay. All right, let's go to the Lord of prayer. Oh, Christina?
Those affected by the hurricane.
Yeah, EJ?
My pastor had to move out of his parsonage, and he was actually moving on campus for a few weeks while they do some repairs. He has some terrible conditions over there.
Huh.
Just pray for his family. Going through a rough time.
Who is this? Your,
This is Shane, the speaker.
oh, okay. Okay. Meredith?
My entire family just about lives in Florida, and they're all on the coastline. So just reiterating
Right.
that. Yeah.
As my husband told me yesterday, honey, you can watch the Weather Channel all you want, but you will not turn that hurricane. So turn it off and quit worrying.
Pivot.
All right, let's go to the Lord in prayer. God, we thank you for your care and concern for us. Father, we thank you for these situations that have been voiced, Father, for people who've had to move out of parsonages, Father, for parents in tough ministry situations, Father, for cities that are mourning because of senseless killings, Father, for people who are in possible harm's way with a hurricane coming, Father, for students who are getting hit with the reality of the semester and all that's going on, Father. We just pray your protection and intervention in all of these situations, Father. We trust your sovereignty, Father. I pray that we would not just say that, Father, but that we would be able to practice putting our total trust in you, Father, to be the God who cares, Father, who hears our prayers and who wants the best for us. Father, I pray as we learn today about how we can be better at researching, Father, by using resources that you've provided, Father, I pray that each student would learn something that he or she could use to make a paper stronger, not only for this class, Father, but to know how to do research well, Father, so that they can be prepared to share the greatest story that needs to be told to a world that's dying without Jesus. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All righty. Hey, Kai. All right, everybody's here. Sorry, I'm hot. All right. What do you need, Eric?
Pardon?
Oh,
That go first.
okay.
We're gonna need the screen.
We can do the screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Some
Oh.
Huh?
And I didn't announce this, but today is Convocation Chapel, so you get to see faculty processing and all of their very hot finery.
How do y'all manage to get there in time after the next
We
class?
have
Like,
to probably get out of your class.
That makes sense.
Oh, it does work better, I promise.
Do you know what the password is?
I do. It's a carefully held secret, it's really not.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but I was kind of excited about what happened.
Okay.
So I was hoping,
Yep.
definitely hoping that it would. We'll see, I gotta keep bugging her every weekend. Hey, we should hang out. I got your number now, you better block me, girl.
Come on, man. That's consistency. That's right. That's right. Airplanes. Now look at you. I don't want to do these. Come on, good. First of all,
BB Ice.
don't turn that on. Turn that on.
Could be.
All right,
have a website, Matthew?
my name is Becca Phillips. I work in the library. I'm going to talk to you about the print resources that we have in the library, as well as some basic policies and some things that we can help you with. And then Eric is going to talk about our digital resources, our databases, and some other things online. To tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a third culture kid. I grew up in Cyprus. And I love to talk about Cyprus, so if anybody wants to talk to me about that, let me know. I came back when I was 18 and went to Samford University, and I worked in Birmingham in libraries for a few years, and then I moved here, and I've been working at an OBTS in the library for almost 3 years. I love libraries, I love books, I love online resources, and the biggest thing that I want y'all to take away from today is that the library and the whole reason that we work on campus is to help you guys with your research, to be available to y'all. I know a lot of people find libraries intimidating, or they feel like there's questions that they have, but at this point it's too late to ask and they're going to sound stupid. But we're here to answer you guys' questions. We want to help. There's no stupid question, or at least if you ask a stupid question, we'll pretend and be really nice. All right, the first thing you need to do to start using the library is to set up your library account. The registrar's office currently doesn't share your information with the library, so for you to have an account at the library, you need to come ask to have one set up, which is very simple. If you're a student, obviously you are eligible for a library account. So if you live on campus or you'll be in the library physically, I'm going to share some things for students who live far away, since this is being recorded and they may watch it later, but that obviously won't apply to people who are on campus. So if you live, if you're coming to the library, all you need to do to set up a library account is to bring your student ID that has the newest sticker on the back. It'll say 2019 to 2020 on the back of your student ID. If you don't have that sticker, all you need to do is visit the Dean of Students office and they'll put one on there for you. And that is what makes your student ID valid from year to year. Yes?
So you need to get a new sticker every year in order to set up your library account at the beginning of every fall.
Yes. Well, once you set up your library account, unless you take a break and stop taking classes, it'll always be there.
Okay.
But we do ask for your student ID every time you check out a book. And it's not valid unless it has that sticker on the back. So every fall you need to go get one from the Dean of Students office. And so then we'll just need your name, your ID number, your address, your phone number, and we'll put you into the computer real quick. If you live far away, obviously you won't be coming into the library with your student ID, but we have some things you can still use print from the library, and I'll talk some more about that later. But what you'll want to do is send us an email with your name, your student ID number, your address, your phone number, and let us know that you're an undergraduate student, and we can set up your account through email. All right. I'm going to show you our library catalog, which is online, how to search for books, how to access your library account online. Okay, so this is our library website. It is www.nobts.edu/library. There's a lot of things on this page, but the thing that I'm going to talk to you about is this first link called NOBTS Online Catalog. That will show you everything that we have in the library. And by in the library, I mean in the library building.
You all know where that is, right?
Sure.
This is my second week. I didn't know until like 4 days ago.
Hey, I feel that.
You know? Didn't know.
I found out because I was bored and started walking around everywhere.
All right, before I show you guys how to search for things in the library catalog, I'm going to show you this button right up here that says My Account. I wish I could remember my student ID number to show you but what you would do is you'd put in your student ID here, no hyphens, and what that'll do is it'll pull up all the things that you have checked out. It'll show you your due dates. It'll let you renew your items online. If you have any fines, it'll show you those there. You are always welcome to call or email the library to ask questions about your account, but if you're like me and you're introverted and you like to avoid phone calls, then this is a really good option. One little thing about renewing books online, it has this weird glitch in our system where if your book is already overdue and you try to renew it, a lot of people, including myself, they don't remember that they needed to renew their book until they get an overdue notice, and then I'm like, oh, I should have renewed that a few days ago, but I don't think about it ahead of time, right? So if it's past due and you log in to renew it online, it'll actually give you an error message. So don't think you can't renew your book if it's overdue. We want you to renew your books, but it's just something weird about the website. If you call or send us an email or stop by, we can always give you one renewal. Everybody gets one renewal per item. So as long as you haven't renewed it before and nobody else has put a hold on it, then it's able to be renewed whether the website says it is or not. Something I wanted to mention too real quick is that the library, we're all super excited. It's like Christmas for all the librarians. We're getting a new system at the library, some new software. So this website will look very different in about 6 weeks. But don't fear, if you have any questions about how to use the new online catalog, you're always welcome to stop by and we can give you a quick tutorial. You can send us an email. But it should also be very intuitive for people to use. It'll be similar, it's just the buttons will be in different places and it'll be different colors, but it'll be great. And you should be able to renew online then without any issues. All right, so back to the search screen. I'm going to show you how to search for some items real quick. One of the things that's important to pay attention to is this drop down right here. It's default to set to all titles alphabetical, which sounds good. I really like searching this way, but this will only work if you are positive you have the exact title of your book, because what it's going to do is pull up what you put in just in alphabetical order. Which means if you type it in wrong or if you guess on what the book is, you don't remember the exact title, then it won't come up. If you are just doing general research on a subject, then what you'll want to do is select general keyword. Notice there's a lot of other things in here. You can search by author, you can search, let's see, by the ISBN if you have that. You can search by series. Series is really helpful if you're looking for commentaries. So for instance, if you want the word biblical commentary on John, and the name of the book is John, and you type that in, you're going to get like 200 books called John because we're a theological library. But if you know that you want the word biblical commentary on John, you can search for the series word biblical and then find the book that way, and that's a lot easier. That's just a quick little note. All right, so I'm going to do a general keyword search for, all right, let me show you something. I'm going to do Paul. Say I'm doing a research on the Apostle Paul, and I search it for a general keyword. Do any of these look like they're about the Apostle Paul?
No.
No. Can anybody guess what would have been, like, why these came up when I typed in Paul?
Was it author?
Author. So when you're searching for a general keyword, it's going to bring up anything with that word that you typed in Paul. So a way to change that would be to brainstorm how else I could have put this in. If I type in Apostle Paul, it's going to help a lot more. So just be aware of little things like that. Computers are smart, but they're not as smart as people yet. So it didn't know that you were looking for the Apostle Paul. It thought you might be looking for an author whose name is Paul. All right, so say you're doing research, you found a book that sounds interesting, you want to know how to actually go get it in the library. So I'm going to click this first one. All right, it'll give you the author's name. Let's see, if it's in a series, it'll tell you. It'll give you subjects, and these are also clickable. So if you click the Apostle Paul here, it'll take you back to a list of subjects, and then it'll pull up lots more results. So that's one way to kind of browse around in the catalog, is to click these subject links right here if it sounds like your topic. All right, but say yes, this is the book you want, you did a search, you pulled it up, you looked at the year and the author, decided this is the one you want to go get. Down here, it'll tell you where the book actually is. So it is on the main campus. It is NOBTS LC shelf. That just means our regular shelves in the library. Sometimes it might say reference or archives, but the majority of things will be in our regular LC shelves. LC stands for Library of Congress, if that helps. If you're wondering what those random letters are.
College, right?
The call number right here is what you'll need to find it on the shelf. And then also make sure that you check the status right here. If it's checked out, it'll tell you. If somebody's dog ate it, it'll say lost.
Please have a status. Somebody's dog ate it.
So a lot of times people will spend like 20 minutes trying to find a book in the shelves, and it's because they didn't notice that it was checked out right here. So just the two things that you should look for on this screen are the call number and the status right there to see if it's checked out. This request copy item right there, please just ignore that. That's not set up currently in our catalog. Public libraries will go pull all your books ahead of time for you, and you can just go and pick them up, which is really nice. That's not a service we currently provide because we would probably do that 24/7. But that's what that is for. Now, if the book was checked out, do not stress. There's a couple other ways that we can help you out. If this book is checked out, you can send us an email or call the library and let us know that you would like to be next in line to get that book. And we will, what we'll do is we'll put a hold on it, and the person, if they try to renew it, will say, no, we're so sorry, someone's waiting for this book. And then when it gets checked back in, we'll send you an email that we're holding it for you with your name on it, and we won't give it to anybody else. We'll hold it for 5 days, and then you can come pick it up. In our new catalog, if it's checked out, there will be a button that you can do that online. So in about 6 weeks, you won't have to call or email if you don't want to. We always welcome calls and emails, but if you'd like to do it online, while you're on this page and you find a book that says checked out, there will be a button that says hold.
Will it tell you if someone's already, but it will tell you if someone already has it on hold on here if it's checked out as well?
We're still learning. I would think that it would.
Okay.
Like currently when I'm using the public library and I put a hold on a book, it'll say there's one person ahead of you in line. Do you still want to put it on hold? Which is nice. So I hope that's an option. I can let you know soon when we're still in training, so we'll figure it out. All right. I'm going to do a couple more quick example searches. So say you're looking for author. you'll want to type in the last name first, followed by the first name. Okay, so I typed in C.S. Lewis. Do these look like books by C.S. Lewis?
No. Finding the Landlord.
Yeah, there's one about C.S. Lewis. All right.
Pilgrim's
I was like,
Okay.
wait a second. I don't know if that's what he was going for.
That's great.
All right. You're going to want to be very careful with the spacing. Again, computers are smart, but not that smart. So I'm going to experiment with how the computer might have C.S. Lewis entered to search. I'm going to add a space right here and see if that helps. Not really. All right, I'm going to try one more thing. Mm-hmm.
Did you give the author alphabetical?
Yes. I was going to say, I'm searching author keyword. So again, it's kind of like a general keyword where it's going to search a few different things. I'm going to try author alphabetical, which is going to search for the authors just in an alphabetical list. Ta-da!
Oh boy.
All right, so there's this first one. We have a lot of different entries for C.S. Lewis. If you want a crash course on cataloging, I can explain to you why, but probably not. All right, so this first one has one title listed with the author C.S. Lewis. I'm going to click this second one that has 151 titles. And it'll come up with all the books that the library has with the author C.S. Lewis. And so I wanted to show you this example just to show you how to kind of play around with how you're searching to see if that helps. If you get no results or you're not getting the results you thought you would get, then try to think about how you searched, what you put in this drop down, and how you typed in what you're searching for. And never fear, you can always call and ask us too. If you get stuck, again, we are there to help you if you have any questions. All right, I'm going to mention a couple more things. I don't want to take up too much of Eric's time because the databases are super fun too. All right, if you live, again, I don't think this will apply to anyone in this room, but for those who are watching the recording later, if you live far away from New Orleans, you have the same resources available to you as the students on campus. So if you find a book that you want in print in the library, it is still available to you. It just takes a little bit longer. But you send us an email and we can send it to you in the mail if you request books through email. So what you would do is send us your name, your mailing address, your student ID number, along with the list of the books. And what we need with the list of the books that you want sent in the mail is the title, the author, and the call number. It's really important that we have those three things so that, again, like when you're talking about commentaries, if you say we want the commentary on John, we have 30 of those. So make sure you send us the title, the author, and the call number in the email so we send you exactly what you want. So for books that we're sending through the mail to students that way, you are accepting liability for the book while it's in the mail coming and going, and you're responsible for return postage. But the library sends it to you free of charge. There's no fee for that service. You don't pay outgoing postage. You just pay to mail it back. Also, students who are returning books through the mail, if you have requested books out and you're sending them back to us, you just have to have them postmarked by the due date. So you don't have to take into account how long it's going to get to us. As long as it's postmarked by the due date, we count it as on time and you won't have any overdue fees. And I'm going to go, yes?
If, like, say you check it out, like, at the end of the spring or something, and then you go out of town, can you still, even though you check them in person, can you send them back before the due date?
You
If you're out of
can.
town?
Yes, you could. I just would want you to be very aware that, again, you're accepting liability for the books if they're lost in the mail. So you're welcome to send them back however you want, as far as like which carrier you use or which speed, but we do recommend that you put insurance on the package just in case. If you've lived in New Orleans very long, you know, mail can be a little iffy.
Come on now.
Yeah. But the same thing, like say you take books home for the summer, or you end up staying a little longer than you expected or something like that, you are welcome to mail them back to us.
Would
And
you
it-
also suggest a tracking number?
Yes, absolutely. And then again, we would check it in as if it was on the postmark date. So as long as it's postmarked by the due date, then you'd be good.
Girl, you better have the FBI on the phone.
All right. Yes, Eric.
Just a couple of things you may want to mention to me. One, about making sure the edition, and then you may want to tell them about show copies.
The addition.
Well, for example, if you're looking at Erickson's Systematic Theology, if your textbook version is the 3rd edition, if you look it up on our system and you don't pay quite enough attention, you may look and grab the 1st edition, and be like, I'm missing some reading material here. So be sure when you're looking for that you get the right edition, because each edition will have its own entry in our catalog.
Right. That's something. Think of it as each ISBN number will have a different entry in the catalog. So if it came out in a different year, if it's if it's a different edition, they're all going to have separate entries. Let me do real quick. I'll show you advanced too. If you click advanced, everybody see where I am up here at the top? We've been using the basic search screen. If you click advanced, it'll let you search a few different things at one time. So I'm going to try, let's see, I'm going to do Erickson.
I think he entitles his Christian
Oh,
theology.
thank
Yes.
you. Let me, well, I'm going to try the basic screen again. Okay, so when Eric was talking about additions, we have, kind of like when I was saying, if you're searching for the commentary John, you're going to come up with a bunch of things. We have a bunch of books called Christian Theology. So look over here at the author. There's Millard Erickson that has these dates here. Millard Erickson, 1998. If you scroll down, there's another entry right here. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a 2013. Is the 2013 the newest edition?
I believe that's the newest edition. I don't think it's free.
So,
It should say 3rd edition.
yeah.
Yeah, it does.
All right, so edition right here, it'll say 3rd. If there's multiple editions, that would be where you need to look for that. So especially if you're looking for, say, one of your textbooks where the edition might be important, just be aware of that. You can also look at the publication year to kind of give you a clue. Here's an example of a couple books that are checked out. So if you see these, you could send us an email and ask us to put it on hold for you. It'll also tell you the due date, which we can't guarantee, obviously, that somebody will return a book on time. But that kind of gives you an idea, a guess of when it'll be back. If a doctoral student has it checked out, they get to keep those longer. So if you find a title you want and the due date is 2 months out, chances are you're not going to get it for 2 months. So just the due date is a good guesstimate of how long you might be looking at waiting for that book. But again, their dog might eat that book, and you know. So.
It's a hungry dog.
Yeah. And there was one other thing you wanted me to mention. I can't remember what it was right now. Additions and copies. Okay.
Yeah, copy.
Okay. So this we have 2 copies of, since there's 2 items listed here. I'm trying to think of one.
Go to the 1st edition of
Okay. For those students who are living off campus in other places, notice that these say location main campus. If you click this other locations button at the bottom, it'll show you we also have a copy in Orlando. We have 4 copies in North Georgia, 1 in Jacksonville, 1 in Baton Rouge, 2 in Birmingham, 1 in Angola prison, 1 in West Palm Beach. So we have a lot of extension center libraries other places. So be aware of that. And if you're on campus, be aware of that too. If you click just not thinking, or you're playing around with the catalog and you click other locations, and you try to find these in the main campus library, then you will be disappointed because they're in Orlando and North Georgia and all those other places. So that is something that's important to be aware of. We do not ship books in between extension centers, just because we have so many extension centers, and those really are for the students at each of those centers. But if you are a student who has an extension center available to you, and you're searching the catalog, make sure you see that other locations button at the bottom. And then if you're on the main campus, just make sure you're looking at books on the main campus.
Is the Birmingham campus the Sanford location?
It is.
That's where my husband used to get his books from, but I didn't know.
The Birmingham campus used to be the Church of Good Kids,
Yes.
but it has moved.
Okay, I was gonna say I think they recently moved,
Yeah,
but
they've moved, now it has moved. I do not know where that one's currently located.
Okay.
But anything there, if a student checks it out there, they have to return it there.
mm. All right. Something else I want to mention. Well, now I'm going to go on and talk about basic library policies, things that you'll need to know. How many books do I get? How much do I have to pay if I return them late? Those sorts of things. Undergraduate students can check out 15 books at a time for a period of 3 weeks. If nobody else has put a hold on that book, you can renew it one time, so you'd get it for an additional 3 weeks. If you return it late, it's 20 cents a day per item, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but if you have 15 books, by the end of a week, you would owe about $10. If you check out professor reserves, sometimes professors put things behind the circulation desk just for their students, and you can check them out for short periods of time, and that way everybody has access to it instead of one person checking it out for 3 weeks. Sometimes professors will ask us to do that. Those fines are higher just because we really need people to return those, because the point is for everybody to have access to them. So if you check out something from the reserve shelf, it is $1 an hour overdue. If it was for an hourly checkout, a lot of times they're for 2 hours or 3 hours. Sometimes professors put things on reserve for like a day, and then it's just $5 a day overdue. Yeah. So just be aware of that. All right, if you have an overdue fine and you feel extreme remorse and guilt in your heart for the overdue items that you have checked out, I just wanted to let everybody know that you can still check out books. Unless you owe over $20, you can still use the library just like normal. So a lot of people don't want to come show their face in the library if they have a lot of overdue items. I don't remember who has overdue fines. Sometimes people avoid eye contact with me in the cafeteria, and I think it's because they think I remember. Yeah. When I worked at the public library, somebody stopped me at the county fair, and they were like, "I'm so sorry." So I don't remember. There's a lot of students on campus. Even if I did, I owe fines at the public library right now. I promise. It happens to everybody. It's okay. So remember, you are still welcome in the library. You can still check out items until you get to $20. Yes, and then even then, we won't give you the stink eye. I promise. All All right. The only other thing on my list to talk to y'all about is Interlibrary Loan. Eric, would you like me to go ahead and mention that, or is that something you're going to talk about?
I can, that's fine.
All right. I'll let Eric talk to you about Interlibrary Loan since he's in charge of it. And I just wanted to say, too, please come use the library. Please come study in the library. We have spaces where you can study with groups and bring pizza if you want. We have places where you can...
bring food in the library.
You can bring food in
Specific
some places in the library. Yeah, let me give that caveat.
Caveat.
There are, food and drinks are allowed in the lobby, in the curriculum lab, and in the World Missions Room. The World Missions Room is the best place to study with groups and food, because it's a open room with big round tables. You're allowed to talk freely in that area. If you are like a silent studier, which I can't really relate to, but if you are, then we have the reference room where no food is allowed, and it's also absolutely silent in there, so if you really need to focus and not be interrupted. So we have different areas in the library, different places for you to study. We want students to come use the library. We want you to ask us questions. And I hope that everybody comes to visit. And I'm going to pass it over to Eric to talk to you about our online resources. Again, feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Even if it's not my department, I can direct you to the right person. The library's general email address is library@nobts.edu. So you're welcome to send any questions to that email, and we can either reply directly or direct you to the person who does have the answer. And then my email address is rphillips, PHILLIPS, @nobts.edu. Yes.
How do you report a book lost?
Okay, are you referring to a book that you have that you've lost, or a book that you can't find in the library?
I can't find it.
Like you have it checked out and you can't find it? Then you just send me an email and let me know.
Then you get the stink eye.
Are we purchasing the book at that point from the library if it's lost?
If you are positive that it's lost, then we would charge you for the replacement, yes. Mhm. But we give you ample amount of time. If you're not sure and you want to wait to see if it turns up, then we can do that too, so.
Gandalf stays by the double doors to enter the library. It says you cannot pass.
You shall.
Yeah.
We have like a most wanted board.
Exactly. Exactly. Nobody's going back.
All right, thank y'all so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Becca.
One of the other things we would like to ask you to not do in the library, please don't reshelve books. Not because we don't think you can't do it, but because every book that's pulled off the shelf and looked at, even if you just look at the table of contents, is considered used, and we have to submit reports to accrediting agencies how much our library is being used. And so that's why we ask you to not do that. So they sit there and say, oh, well, you are making your students write papers and do things. But please, don't take that as free license. I'm going to help them out and pull 60 books off and set them on a table somewhere. We don't need that. Just please, just set it on a table or lay it down on the shelf where you are, and we will come and gather or Becca's team will come through and gather those things. Interlibrary Loan. Well, I guess I better introduce myself. I'm Eric. I don't know what you would call me, a jack of all trades in the library, do everything. My office is in the reference room, and I have been there since dirt. And so you laugh, but I have been there longer than some of you have been alive. I've now been at the library for 30 years. So, yeah, I feel old now, thank you. I've learned a few tips and tricks along the way, and so I'm in that office. Interlibrary Loan allows us to ask other libraries around the country to borrow materials for you. You're like, Eric, this is the 21st century United States. We are going to do ebooks. Well, I hate to tell you something, but the religious theological realm is behind the curve in publication and making ebooks available. They're catching up, but they are still behind. So you're still going to deal with print materials in one form or other, whether it's a book or a periodical. You can submit those requests to ill@nobts.edu. You see right here, Interlibrary Loan. You can click on that and it'll take you to tell you what that is, enter for document delivery. And it will tell you that we need the author, title, all of that information. Make sure that we do not have it first. About 20% of the requests that we get in an Interlibrary Loan office, actually they're sitting on the shelf. So if you'll just check those things, you'll usually find them, and you'll be able to check them out or make copies as you need. So enjoy. Hopefully we should have the majority of what you need, and you shouldn't need Interlibrary Loan too terribly much. It can take some time, depending upon the request, how many people, how many other libraries have it, and how soon they respond to our request online. One of the things that I want to talk to you about are dealing with e-journals. And so I've given you a handout there. That will give you, now being on campus, you should not have any problem accessing EBSCOhost, but from your church, from your home, from your apartment, wherever you happen to be, if you're on a plane during fall break or whatever, going over to Austria to ski the Alps or something like that, you can go to this URL on this page and use these passkeys to access EBSCOhost. So please remember, when you're off campus, you may find sometimes the Wi-Fi around campus, you may have to use the off-campus access points. So just keep that in mind. Journal articles are going to be those things that are in a terse format. That is, they're shorter in length. They deal with very specific subjects. They are things that are more current. Journals are generally indexed every 3 to 6 months so that those items are available to you. Textbooks and other books, on the other hand, well, sometimes they were started being written. Boy, that was an interesting, complex statement, wasn't it? The author started writing that book 3 or 4 years ago before it actually got published, because it has to go through all the editing, re-editing, and things. And so sometimes that may not be the most current information, especially when you are in fields like counseling, social work, and those fields. Archaeology, you know, there's not too much earth-shattering, discoveries going on in archaeology right now. But there may be. There may be.
Was that a pun?
Huh?
Did you try to make a pun?
That was a punch.
That's disgusting.
Matthew, go back to sleep. Oh my. You know, Paul had a thorn in his flesh. Nah, I love Matthew. Matthew's a good guy. I love him. But EBSCOhost is a vendor for us where you can access about 60 different databases where you can find not only journal articles, you can find book reviews, you can find book chapters and essays in EBSCOhost as well. So here, as you get to it, you'll access EBSCO through that first, and you'll see the first grouping of databases here. Dr. Griffin, Dean of Libraries, has pulled them together, the religion and philosophy databases. So you can, if you so desire, just click that and it will search all of these databases that he pulled together. We'll just click that and we'll hit continue. And here you just begin inputting, if you so desire, just a keyword or two. You can either search author, title, subject terms. If you know the journal exactly that you're looking for, you just want to find something in the Journal of Biblical Literature, you can certainly put that journal title in. Not many people go around with the ISSN in their number, in their memory. So, but I would suggest when you get to the search fields, what are we going to do here? We're going to do, we're going to look for things dealing with discipleship. You will note that EBSCO will work on truncated searches. Some of you may be used to the term of wildcard searches. That is, you start spelling a word and you stop and you put an asterisk, and it will pull everything up that begins with that. It'll pull up disciple, disciples, discipleship, discipling, discipline, disciplines, disciplined. It's a way of expanding your search. So you can put that in there. And let's see, you want to find everything about that. And you have 262,995 times that this occurs in articles. Just that, any form of that word, it may not be exactly what you're looking for. You may not get through that during your lunch break. So you're going to have to narrow that down.
Can you narrow it by language?
Why, I believe we can. So let's look down here and say, oh, there we are, language. Okay, we'll go just English. We'll knock it down to 239,000. Yes, over here on the left, language isn't necessarily the best way. Here on the left, you have a number of items that will let you narrow the search down. And note, you probably don't want everything going back to the 16th century. So probably when you deal with this, you're going to want, boy, I'm getting into colloquialisms here. You will want, let's just go to the year 2000. Shall we? It's 2019. We're now down to 188,000. Okay, so we're putting something on there. You may say, I only want full text. That is, I only want full text articles that I can access electronically, and so I don't have to get up out of my bed, and I can do this where I am. The problem being is that publishers have learned, one, how to make money a couple of times. They will put the article out in print first for a couple, 3 months, then they'll put out the electronic version. So then they get to double dip. Dickens, if I recall, was the one who invented this. Charles Dickens, he would write chapters and he would sell them. Then he would buy them all back, sew them together, sell a complete thing, and everybody would be like, ooh. Then he would take it and he would collect them again and he would put a cover on them and he would sell that again. And then he would put it all out with a nice cover to it, leather-bound edition, and make money 4 times on the same thing. So, yeah, that's an old trick. So, I would suggest don't do that because you will miss some very good articles. But you can say the things that I'm wanting, I really only want to deal with academic journals, so you can select that if you so desire. But some of the ones that will help you will be the subject, thesaurus term. I'm really only wanting to deal with, let's look more. I'm wanting to deal with, and then you narrow it down, say, I want to deal with, well, see, it's pulling up discipline because it's not talking about discipleship. So it's not quite where we want it to be. So you go up here and you put in another term. Let's go with teen. Okay, now we can find this, so let's put that in. See where we come up, we're down to 2,170. That's a little more manageable. You might get through that by the time you graduate. That many articles. The thing is, just remember, now that you're using computers, you have to keep a thesaurus running through your head. Because not everybody who writes every article is going to use the same terminology, especially those who are not in the same religious tradition you are in. So, for example, what other ways are there to describe the same concept of discipleship? Mentoring. Now, it's interesting, there is a difference between the two. So that would be an interesting research paper to do, the distinction between mentoring and discipleship, but it is a contemporary term a lot of people will use. What else? Christian life, Christian living, Christian formation, spiritual life, spiritual formation. Okay, so now there's 7 terms you get to search for. You thought your work got easier with a computer. It got harder. Sorry, folks. Now, couple that with how many different ways can you describe a teenager, and please, only those that can be spoken here. Adolescent. Young adult. Thank you. You know Library of Congress. Youth. Don't forget all the other things. the contemporary things, the preteens, the adult man-child. The preteens, juvenile,
Yeah.
all these other concepts you have to be searching for and using. So you've got multiple search parameters that you add these things together. So remember that when you're doing your searching. And so we'll just go with this list here. Do not worry about this plum metrics icon. All that is it lets you know how many times this article has been mentioned elsewhere. Social media, it's been mentioned 33 times. So this is the positive strokes to the ego for the authors who wrote them. You know, oh, my article's been cited 83 times this year. You know, this one has only been read 5 times. So, yeah, that one's, you know.
It's also very new, September 19th.
Exactly. So it's quite new. So here we go. We get down to this one. If it is available full text online, you will have either this HTML icon or this PDF icon. And when you click on that, say this is the article that you wanted to deal with, you are able then at this point that you can print this article out, you can email it to yourself, you can save your search in some folders, or you can just download it. I know you can do that at some point somewhere here. There we are. Download the article to your computer or device. And then there is this little function over here on the right that I will tell you about, but with the caveat you double check with Drs. Vandercook and Campbell before you say, I'm just going to use this. This citation function will let you scroll down and find Chicago Turabian, which would let you cite an electronic source by copy and paste. Notice for the bibliography here that you could put in your bibliography. Double check. Make sure that it is in agreement with dear Sister Kate here in her latest incarnation. She's older than, she's the wonderful book there. She is older than some of the mummies in ancient Egypt. But she is, she's the main interpreter authority of the Chicago Manual of Style, which is almost 3 times that thickness.
You actually would consult the new style guide first.
Oh, okay.
That we just put out, that the seminary just put out.
Okay.
Then you would cite, then you would look at Kate.
Okay, so that's something new. I didn't know we put out a style. Hey,
Yeah.
good. So double check that, but that will help you. Yes, ma'am.
Do the downloads ever expire?
No.
Like the PDFs? Okay.
Nope, it's yours ad infinitum, ad nauseum. So those things are there. So one of the other thing that I would like to show you here in doing these searches, let's go back here. Let's go back. Okay, let's continue. Alrighty. I'm not getting, where is it? Okay. I'm not finding
I believe it.
this. Where is it? Huh. Okay, something has sort of dropped off. I prefer to search databases A to Z, and all it'll do when you click that, it'll list everything A to Z, and then you can go and search for the ones that you want to look at. I double click that to make sure I clear all the previous stuff out. And the one button I wanted to show you that will help you immensely, ATLA Religion Database with Serials. So let's go all the way back up with this. Continue. Alrighty. Something has dropped off the menu. There we go, more. That is not helping.
You've already changed it, huh?
Wow.
No.
No, here we go. Here we go. The Scriptures Index, where you can search for specific scripture. You can, in that search screen that we were in earlier, you can search, but you may not know the abbreviations that are used in all of the articles. For example, if you're going to look for something for Second Chronicles, how many different ways can that be abbreviated? Either Roman or Arabic numerals. It can be CHR, CHRO, CHRON. Who knows? You don't have the time to think through all that, so you're like, okay, I want to do something in Second Chronicles. You'll go to that book, you'll expand, you'll find the chapter, you can expand that and select a verse. And then what it will do is it will pull up every article in which that verse is contained, whether it's a standalone verse or it is contained within an overall passage. So here's the first one in Korean. So here's where maybe the language function may help you unless you're an MK and are fluent in Korean. But it will allow you to just search for those things, and you see that it is within that range of verses, Second Chronicles 1 through 9 that we were looking at. So you can look for specific passages. You look for John 3:16. You'll note that they have now included all of the apocryphal books so that you can search those if needed. For example, here's John. We'll see what all comes up. How many articles can there possibly be dealing with that? 226. So that will be journal articles. I know that's a lot in a little bit of time. Questions, comments, soapbox speeches, pontifications, orations, elocutions.
That was good.
See, keep
Not
a
bad.
thesaurus running through your head. Yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna add, the sign-in feature. Would you like to talk about that? Would you like me to?
Oh, I never do that. Talk about the sign-in feature, Becca.
Okay. Let's see, I think it's in that drop-down on that screen. There is an option to sign in. This might be confusing because if you're at home, you've signed in using the library's login. After you've signed in using the library's login and you have all the access to databases, this is if you would like to create a free account that is unique to you to keep track of your research. So you'll still log in with the seminary's information every time, but after that, if you would like to log in with information that you create here, you can save searches, you can save articles to different folders. This is how you would check out ebooks, which do have a due date and expire. This will keep track of your ebook checkouts. So if you're doing, like if you've hit on a really good search and you want to make sure you remember that exact combination of terms, then you can log in and save your search and it'll be there the next time you log in.
Okay,
So some people like to do that, some people never use it, but you will need it if you ever check out an ebook in EBSCOhost, so I thought I'd mention it.
Okay, so something I keep forgetting about. Ebooks, the next thing that you have in this little handout here. We do have several ebook collections. The largest ebook collection that we have is in EBSCOhost. See, it'll be a familiar interface for you. You already know how to search for articles. You can find ebooks there. We have eBook Central from ProQuest. This deals with the subject areas of psychology counseling, therapy, and social work. So there you will be able to find different ebooks. Each of our ebook platforms should adapt to whatever reader you are using. Whether it's your laptop, a tablet, your iPhone, you shouldn't have to download any special app to read anything there. And then Overdrive is our theological collection. Overdrive, I'll start there. You will need to make sure you have an account set up because Becca has to make sure that your ID is linked to this database for you to be able to check out items. And Becca, you're going to have to remind us how many and for how long. It's what, 5 for 2 weeks?
That sounds right. I don't remember off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
So if you were to go in here, you can say, I want to borrow this title. This is your student ID. I know it says card number. Please don't call us up and complain that you can't find a place for student ID. and that it doesn't say student ID. We know it doesn't. Just put your student ID number in there. I have no idea what mine is. It may be 666 or something like that. No, okay, it's incorrect. Praise God, it's incorrect. But put your student ID number in there, and it'll let you to check those things out. Remember, and it will check them back in automatically. So if you're halfway through, it's gone if you've not finished it up in 2 weeks. So those theological, again, it does make that sound. So you wonder what it is, and it'll make that sound.
Family, sleep here.
eBook Central, you can just start searching here, and you're probably gonna, let's see, let's go with marriage therapy, and you'll say, here it is. It'll let you know whether it's available or not, and you can do a full download, you can read it online, you'll be able to look at the table of contents, see what you need in there. You may not need the whole book, but you can go to a specific portion of that book. You can add it to your shelf. You know, I've got 2 or 3 books that I'm reading at this time. You can add it to that shelf. And again, you can narrow things down here on the left-hand side. You know, we narrow it down to English, the specific subject, and those sorts of things that you need. As far as, again, EBSCOhost, it's going to look very similar. Matter of fact, identical when you start dealing with ebooks. We'll go databases A to Z, E. Now, so far as I know, and Becca will know more about this because she deals with it more than I do, there is not a limit that I'm aware of as to how many you can check out in this collection of ebooks. So because we're on the statewide consortium and you've got 150, 200,000 college, university students, they've got to have pretty much infinite numbers of copies available. And then again, you put in here whatever you want to do. Say preaching, I don't know. We'll see what comes up. And you would think, well, there we go. Again, here's the download table of contents. Most relevant pages, ignore that because who knows what the most relevant pages are. I mean, unless Dr. Campbell has read all of these and set up the relevant pages, I mean, you may be getting some pagan from somewhere else who decides what's relevant. You still have all the same limitation functions here on the left-hand side in finding these ebooks. Now, one of the things you need to be aware of at this point in time, we're hoping this will change. There's nothing connecting the ebooks to our online catalog. So you have to search for ebooks separately from our online catalog. Some of you may come from a place where you're able to search both regular books and ebooks on one database. We're hoping to get to that point with this new system. Please, it'll make things easier. But right now you'll have to search both places in our online catalog and with this. Any questions about ebooks? Again, I know it's like drinking from a fire hydrant and everybody's getting low on ATP. Any biology students in here know what ATP is?
I mean, we know what ATP is.
That's what you mean.
Huh?
I think we all took a biology class, if that's what you mean.
Do you know what ATP is?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's adenine triphosphate. It's like the energy in your cells.
And it's used in your cells and everything. And so then, once your cells use it, it becomes ADP. And so you need to go out and get caffeine, sugar, whatever else it is you need to get energy in your system. Any other questions that you have of us? We're in the library. We're here to help you out. One of the things Becca does have up front, and I forgot to give these to you, Becca, are, say you want to know the difference between a devotional, a homiletical, and critical commentary. We have a help at the front desk that lists some of the ones that will help you out in distinguishing. And then some general reference room theological helps. We have 6 or 7 different printed helps out in the library for you.
Isn't that information also on the library webpage?
It is. It's
May
not
be
in.
updated.
Oh, let's see. Where are we here? General databases and resources.
I know.
Let's see. It's sort of hidden, and that's the sad part. You'll know, play around on, Becca, I still have yet to take that off. That you have a number of databases and things that are available to you through our library pages. Just dig through those.
It's not a big deal, Eric, I just thought it was there somewhere.
It is, and I'm trying to see, there we go, it's under research links, and it should be under locating out helps and guides right here. And this will be the ebook, the handouts that you have. It'll also be these printouts, researches and things, and all that. So it's under research. Anything else? Man. Yes, sir.
Believe it or not. On Overdrive, once the 14 days are for that book, is there a chance for us to be able to use it again?
If no one else has placed a hold on it, then you should be able to go in and check it right back out. That is my understanding, right, Becca? Okay.
And guys, I would say, when you start actually doing research and you have forgotten all of this, walk over to the library and they're gonna help you. The library staff is wonderful. Email library@novhs.edu and they'll respond to you. Our library wants to be helpful and they do a great job. And so the onus is on you to make sure that you can find the things that you need. If you don't go over there and ask for help and you say, I couldn't find the books, I'm gonna say, I challenge you on that. Because we have the books that, the subjects that you're gonna write about in here, we have the books to support that. If you can't find them, go ask for help. They're not gonna be upset with you, okay? I know, I email Eric all the time, I do ILL books all the time, so, yeah.
She's working on a great project.
I know.
And that'll be a good class to take. I mean, so
Yep.
some wonderful stuff there. Please note, I mean, as good as our library collection is and everything, we do not have the budget or means to be able to buy textbooks for every class, for every student. So we may happen to have some of your textbooks, and it's first come, first served. So if this gentleman over here gets over there at 7:30 in the morning and gets them all checked out, sorry. Now, please note, privacy laws prevent us from telling you who has something checked out. We can never tell you that. We can tell you as a parent what your child has checked out, but we cannot tell you what your spouse has checked out. So that's privacy laws, and we will not do it. But if this gentleman over here has the book out, and he's had it for 4 weeks, he's renewed it or whatever, we can send him an email and say, if you happen to be through with this book, another student is needing it, would you mind turning it in early? You know, we will be glad to do that. I'm assuming, Becca. I'm making statements for Becca without asking her.
A lot of people will say, this was due last week, can you tell me who has it checked out? It's probably somebody in my class, and I'll just ask them, but we never share information about what somebody else has checked out. But again, yeah, I'd be happy to email them on your behalf if you would like me to.
And the issue for this class is a lot of you may choose to write on the same research topic. Whoever gets the book first gets the book first. And but that's not an excuse for you not to be able to do your research. We have other books. And sometimes, I would say, sometimes you'll go to the library and you'll have the call number, you'll go to the shelf to check it out, and your eye will catch 2 or 3 other books on that same topic. And sometimes those will be the books that are most helpful to your research. So don't limit yourself to ebooks. You need to actually go to the library and really just take some time.
Another tip, now when I was coming through middle school and high school back in the dark ages, we were told encyclopedias and dictionaries were not good places to start, that's not primary source material. However, now that you are entering into collegiate studies and everything, there are specific dictionaries and encyclopedias that are written to be primary. So if you go to the Anchor Bible Dictionary, you have a paper you're going to write on the background of Ruth. You can go to that article in there, go to the very end of the article, and you will see all of the resources that that author used to write that article. That's a good place to start. Bibliographies are your friend.
Yes.
So you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. Go to these things. You can go to the encyclopedia, the Westminster Dictionary of Church History, right? And, find that article on whatever you're dealing with Luther and the Greater Catechism, and find what books and things that author used. So those are always good places to start as well.
All right, no more questions for Eric or Becca? All right, thank y'all so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it very much.
All right, thank you.